Welcome back, folks. We are at Open Line Friday here on the EIB Network. Rush Limbaugh at 800-282-2882. Your phone calls are coming right up. Final segment here with Mark Levin, who has written a book, Rescuing Sprite, a dog lover's story of joy and anguish. I'm not talking about a whole lot of details in the book, because that's for you when you read it, and it's something to be experienced read, folks. So I would love to, but I think this is something you really need to read. But I do have a question or two, not just about the process that you went through writing it, but what is the reaction you're getting from people? Are people surprised that a human being can get so attached to a dog, to think about giving everything up because of the death of a dog? That is a level of attachment to animals that I suspect a few people have, but most don't.
Turns out a lot do, and that's one of the points of the book. It's not why I wrote it, but it's one of the things people can get out of it, that people are crushed. I mean, physically and emotionally crushed. I became extremely depressed for about 6-8 weeks. I lost 20 pounds. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat, because this dog was put to death on my say-so. And, I didn't want to play God. As a matter of fact, the night before, and I don't pray a lot, I prayed to God and I begged him to take this dog. I didn't want to make that decision. And we made the decision. And I just want people out there who love dogs or cats or horses or whatever it is to know that they're not alone. And that you said to me at the time, the greater the joy, the worse the grief. Because, most of us are going to outlive our dogs and cats. And we're going to have to face this. And it was absolutely traumatic for me to make that decision. And we'd never done that before.
Well, that's one of the reasons why a lot of people don't invest and let go fully in joy in anything. The fear that it's going to end and the pain that will result when it does. You gave this dog and the other one, gave them everything that you had, it appears. But I don't know that you realize how much you got back from them. You've described it, but I don't think even now you realize how much you got. This dog, Sprite, gave you a lot of joy. This dog had a life he would not have had were it not for you. Look what he's given you. He's given you a book. He's given you a therapeutic way to deal with his death. He's given you a way to immortalize him and your relationship with him. It's all good. It's all good. And you talked about compassion. You may have hated doing it, but it was the compassionate thing to do, to put him down. You didn't want to, but...
No, but the way I look at it through this book and him, I can tell people that if you're thinking of getting a dog, think about going to these shelters. There are dogs there that just a day or two or three before had loving families. Many of them have lost these families. Think about that. You can do it online. I've gone to a shelter once, and I can't go back. I love the people there. They're magnificent human beings. But to see all these dogs and cats in these cages that at one point had loving families, and every one of them has a story. I went there with my son Chase once. I said, I got to get out of here. You can do it online, whatever. But these are great dogs. I'm not saying, look, I'm not a PETA guy. I like a good, well-done hamburger with ketchup on it, as a matter of fact. But...
Well, you'll have one then.
I'll have one. But what I'm saying is, you can get them at a pet shop or whatever, but at least give these shelter dogs a thought. There are millions of them, and they just need a home.
You had dogs growing up, right?
I did.
Why did the death, maybe they did, but it seems to me the death of Sprite affected you far more than the death of any of the dogs that you've had previous. Why?
It's true, because I never had to decide when, how, where. And as I've gotten older, I spend a lot more. When you're a kid, you're running around. I had 1,000 things to do. Well, when I'm done my radio show, I don't have 1,000 things to do. And I spend a great deal of time with them. And as well as my kids and my wife. I don't run around all over the place. I don't travel that much. And these guys bring me peace. They bring me peace emotionally and in every other way. You can trust them 100%. They're loyal 100%. And as people say in their right, the love is unequivocal. So that's my little zone of comfort with them.
What about the notion that this degree of attachment to an animal means you're lacking an attachment elsewhere? Somebody said that to you? Have you had anybody ask you?
No, but
I think a lot of people,
Yeah.
when they read this, are going to be stunned, Mark, at the depth of love and devotion you had for the dog. And some of them might wonder, do you have the same for your family?
Absolutely. I mean, there's enough to go around, and believe me, I do. But, you know, dogs aren't hamsters. They're not fish. I won't say birds because Snurdly's a bird guy, and he's right over my shoulder here. But I'm just kidding you, Snurdly. But they're, you know, dogs are dogs, and I've often said, I cannot imagine losing a child. I just can't imagine the unbearable pain. Not many, but a handful of my friends lost their sons over in Iraq, and they call the show. I cannot imagine getting through that in any kind of a sane way. So, as you said to me at the time, you don't compare loss, you don't compare these things, it is what it is.
Right. Well, I would congratulate you.
Well, thank you.
For this, because this is, a lot of people wouldn't have had the courage to open up like this. And you've done it, and when you open up like this, it's the greatest thing in the world you can do, but it does expose you. For people who launch slingshots or either other kinds of attacks. But it's the fact of being open and leaving no doubt about who you are and the love you had for the dog that was therapeutic for you. I want to thank you for the nice things you said about me.
Wow.
Didn't mean this to be about me. Things usually do end up being about me, but I didn't think
yes.
this would be. So, where are you going? I've got 15 seconds. You going to have any book signings, tours anywhere?
No, I one more book sign, just two. One in New Jersey at Bookends.
When?
Saturday, December 1.
And the second one, 5 seconds.
We already had it.
This is one more.
This is it.
Okay. Thanks for
God
showing
bless
up.
you, my friend.
Bet. We'll
Thank
see
you.
you.